The following program is rated
Assistive technology is a tad too much for persons with disability because it is not pocket-friendly and at times it is far beyond their reach. So on today's episode, we are here at NONDO and they will get to address the policies revolving around assistive technology and as well scouring around the thematic areas and the desert wheel race that happens annually, and it will definitely be taking place next month. Welcome to Beyond the Limit. I am Modoni Maina. Hello, how are you?
I'm very fine. How are you, Modoni?
I'm fine, thank you, Fatma. So I'd like you to briefly introduce yourself to us.
Okay, my name is Fatma Mohammed. I'm the Executive Director of Northern Nomadic Disabled Persons Organization. I just took upon this position this year in May.
This year?
Yeah, this year in May. But before this, I was a volunteer here. I started as a volunteer. I started volunteering while I was in school. Instead of just staying idle during the long holidays, I just used to come here, and over the years I developed passion. And because I have a disability, I saw that, they say that the wearer of the shoes knows where it pinches the most. So over the years I realized that persons with disabilities from pastoralist communities were going through challenges, and these challenges needed to be advocated for. We started an education program in 2015 because we realized that there are so many children with disabilities and persons with disabilities from pastoralist communities who are not educated. Most of them are literate not because they are in schools, but because of stigma and discrimination, the myths around disability. The myths around disability from the society. Children with disabilities perceived as burden, punishment, bad omen. Most of the families just decide to hide their children. You can walk into a home and not know if this home has a child with disability. You can have a neighbor who you don't even know has a child with disability because they are hidden. People are afraid of them being associated with the, with the stigma that comes with disability. So I got so interested in education for children with disabilities, and the Desert Wheel Race, which started in 2012.
So wait, before we actually get to the Desert Wheel Race, what is your condition?
I am visually impaired. I was born without disability. I acquired my disability when I was 2 years old. I got measles. When I got measles, the measles, how I was told, went to my eyes. And in our community, disability is not an acceptable thing. It's something that should be gotten rid of. So my family tried. I was not raised by my mom and my dad. So my grandmother and my grandfather tried their best to see how I can regain my eyesight again.
So your grandparents took you in. Since your parents wouldn't they followed the culture to the latter that disability is not something that they could easily accept, or what was the situation?
My dad died when I was young, and my mom was requested by my grandparents to let me live with them. So in the process, when I was living with my grandmother is when I got measles. My grandfather then was living here in Nairobi. I was born in Mandera, Takaba. So when those areas, there are no hospitals and specialized centers. So I had to be brought here. My grandfather took me to hospital after hospital after hospital after hospital, and my second grandmother who raised me was she and my grandfather, They took me to so many hospitals to try and fix my disability. I don't blame them. Of course, they wanted a good life for me. For them, they never knew that if someone has a disability, they can make it in life. And even our society, our community, our pastoralist community, never thinks that if somebody has a disability, they will ever make it in life, and especially women with disabilities.
Yeah. So how is your relationship with your mother up till now?
It's perfect.
It's perfect.
Yeah. Of course, after I grew up and knew myself.
So you got to meet her again after
Yes.
you parted for after how long exactly?
Okay, when I got disability and I was brought to Nairobi, when it couldn't be fixed, of course my grandfather took me to school. This school, it's not school for the visually impaired, or they don't know how to care for persons who is visually impaired. So I was ignored the whole time. I don't know if it's because they don't know or what, but I remember I was ignored.
How did that make you feel?
Then I was just young, so I didn't even know. I can't remember really.
So when you got to grow with time, they took you to a special needs school?
And after that school, I was ignored. I didn't even know how to write anything because the teachers wouldn't even concentrate on me. They would concentrate on other students, but not me. I don't know if it's because I couldn't see the blackboard, or I don't know what was the problem really.
They did not understand back then your condition.
Yeah, looking back, I think that it was lack of training, and because of they didn't know how to handle me generally. Ignorance, around disability. My grandmother looked for a special school. My grandmother lives in Kajiado, and my grandfather lives in Nairobi, but they visit each other. So sometimes I would be with my grandfather, sometimes I would be with my grandmother in Kajiado. So my grandmother took me to a special school in Thika. That's called Thika School for the Blind in Thika. Yeah.
After she took you to the Thika School for the Blind, then you met your mother afterwards?
Yeah, after she took me to that school, actually my mother started looking for me. So she came to look for me. I was in class 1. She came to visit me in school. But you see, you've got to grow with your parents to form that bond. I was young, I didn't know anything, but also this is your mother. I say okay, just okay.
As from that moment, do you coming to think about it now, do you wish that your mom was with you, since the very beginning up till now, and not have that bridge gap in between there?
Okay, I think I was raised by amazing people. They never made me feel like I wish I had my mom with me. So I don't even know how it feels like if I had my mother with me, because the love I got from my grandparents was just enough. So me having my mother and my grandparents is a plus. So there wasn't any point that I wish I had been raised by my mom or by my parents. I have never. It has never come to me.
Okay, great. So now let's talk about the career aspect. Maybe you could tell us the meaning of the initials of NONDO. We could start there.
Okay, NONDO. NONDO stands for Northern Nomadic Disabled Persons Organization. The organization was founded by our former CEO, together with some of persons with disabilities from northern Kenya. And the organization started as a result of our former CEO, Harun Hassan, who is currently National Council for Persons with Disabilities CEO. He was vying for a political position in Mandera. And as he was traveling to Mandera, he got into a grisly accident that left him paralyzed. So as a result, before that, He was a man who could walk anywhere with his legs, anywhere. Accessibility wasn't an issue for him. Attitudes towards him was okay because he was what people say in quotes, normal people, normal person, I mean. So after he acquired disability, he knew what he was missing. He knew that he couldn't access everywhere the way he used to access because of the barriers, the environmental barriers which are put across by the society. So, and their attitudinal barriers. As a result, him and other persons with disabilities from the region started this organization. But over the years, we learned that just not northern Kenya, we cannot just serve the northern Kenya only. Why don't we just expand to pastoralist counties, all of them? So currently we are like in 12 counties, 12 pastoralist counties.
Ability is common in everyone. Those abled differently also have immense ability.
Maybe we are not good in both, but we can be good in life.
They reach beyond the limits in their special, different way.
If the society can just be careful in what they call them and how they refer to them, that would at least be better.
They need to be loved. They have feelings. They would like to give love. It's a natural thing.
Catch their story on Beyond the Limit on TV 47 every Saturday at 7:30 p.m.
The brain does not exactly know how to differentiate physical pain from the psychological.
Nilikuwa na feel nimefeel hata watoi wangu.
This month, our sisters, mothers and friends share their heartfelt stories of the pain and struggles with Joy Irongo.
We are all about being authentic and sharing our lifetime experiences to speak hope and empower a woman who's probably going through a rough patch.
Join us as we unravel the heartache.
So the doctor told me she has only 2 weeks to live.
Mimi nilikaa tu miezi 2 tu nikiwa.
So maybe you could elaborate on what NONDO does.
Okay, at NONDO, we advocate for the rights, inclusion and participation of persons with disabilities from pastoralist communities. We believe that when persons with disabilities have a voice and space to participate, they live dignified lives. We focus on 4 areas, that's education, governance, socioeconomic empowerment and health. Key among our initiative is the Desert Wilderness. The Desert Wilderness has 2 build-up activities. That's the Desert Fashion Gala and the conference. The Desert Fashion Gala is a beauty pageant where we bring together women, young women and girls with disabilities from pastoralist communities to come and compete among themselves. This is a platform where we use to amplify the voices of women with disabilities, to create visibility, awareness and highlight challenges faced by women and girls with disabilities from pastoralist communities. Why we are doing this is because we realize that as much as despite the advanced advocacy in the rights of women with disabilities are still left behind. They are marginalized in terms of them being women, in terms of them having disability, and in terms of them living in pastoralist community where culture is embedded into the community. So we said, why can't we use this opportunity to amplify the voices of women with disabilities? The conference, which happens prior the Desert Wilderness, is where we bring together the stakeholders, critical stakeholders, the policymakers, policy influencers, development agencies, faith-based organizations, and other very critical stakeholders to come and discuss issues that are affecting persons with disabilities, especially the issues which are priority to the nation. For example, COVID-19, the 4 big agendas, and so on. Because in 2018, our theme was around devolution and disability, and we were happy because the Minister for Devolution came, and there was certain commitment that they made, even if they were not able to fulfill it. There was something that happened. At least persons with disabilities were invited from all the 47 counties to the Devolution Conference in 2019 February. So this is a platform where we engage the stakeholders. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So you've said that they did not manage to fulfill some of the things that they had actually promised.
Yeah.
So what is the follow-up? Did you follow up, or what actually happened?
Among the promised things were the Devolution Conference of 2019 was to be around disability. The theme was to be on disability.
Yeah.
But this did not happen. Nevertheless, the fact that persons with disabilities were invited from all corners, and then there was a communique, that was also a plus for us. We acknowledge that things will be progressive. So in terms of seeing the result, we know that it's not going to be immediate. As much as we want it to happen immediately, we know it's not going to be happening immediately. But we're saying we'll get there.
We'll get there. Okay.
Yeah.
So what is assistive technology?
So assistive technology are the devices or products and services that maintains or improves the functioning of a person with disability. These are the things that persons with disabilities use in their day-to-day to perform their day-to-day activities. For example, movement from one place to another, household chores, communication, going to work, and so many other things, even participating in recreational activities. These assistive devices are the ones helping them, majority of persons with disabilities. And this year's Desert Race, the Desert Race, first of all, is a competition for people on wheelchair, the tricycle users. And we also use the platform for advocacy again. We bring together also stakeholders. So this is a platform where we use for advocacy. We bring together stakeholders, engage them from the previous conference. We engage them also here. Here is where they get to, the dignitaries and the policymakers and anybody else get to enjoy to race with wheelchair, whether they are disabled or not, whether they have a disability or not. They get to at least enjoy that, like 5 minutes of being on a wheelchair, of being on a tricycle, and cycling and competing among themselves. This is a fanfare part for the dignitaries. And then this Desert Race have been having different themes. Every year there's a different theme. This year it's going to be in its 10th edition. The first 2 editions was around peace and integration, racing for peace, mainstreaming peace and disability. And 3rd and 4th edition was around education. So it has been having different themes. In 2018 it was devolution and devolution and disability, the big 4 agenda. 2019 it was about disability and tourism, how persons with disabilities are equally equally want to enjoy tourism services, but how they are left out because of the barriers. And then in 2019, because of COVID, the active participation was cancelled. But instead, we used the platform again for creating awareness on the impacts of COVID-19 and the effect it has on learners.
In regards to the impact of COVID-19, what are the containment measures that you will include in the Desert Wheel race, if it will be held, I believe, next month?
Yeah, the Desert Wheel race of this year, the 10th edition, is for us is a very big milestone for this event to have been happening for all these years. And this year, hoping that COVID-19 curve is going down and down, the event is going to happen in Isiolo again from 21st to 23rd of October. And we're encouraging people to participate. But again, we are going to put measures in place, COVID-19 measures, to ensure that the spread is curbed. People are going to be strictly wearing their mask throughout. People are going to be sanitizing. We'll put in place hand washing tools everywhere so that people will be washing their hands. And this year's Desert Wheel race is around assistive mobility and assistive technology, access to assistive technology. We decided on this theme because we have seen how persons with disabilities are struggling to access the assistive technologies.
So what is your advice to the government and also to the health sector as well?
I would say everybody has a role to play here. Not just the government, but all of us has a role to play here. Government, of course, has a huge role to play here to ensure that persons with disabilities acquire affordable, make availability of affordable quality assistive technologies. But by also reducing the tax on these assistive technologies, okay, for the service providers, I think they can invest more in the production of these assistive devices and also create more awareness on these on the assistive technologies, because you find that most of the people who use assistive technologies are not even aware that there are assistive technology, quality assistive technologies that can enable them to perform their day-to-day activities with ease, you know. And then also to the organizations of persons with disabilities, we have a role. Our role is to advocate for the access to assistive technology, affordable quality.
So give us a parting shot as well.
Yeah, this is my parting shot. I love to say this, that our impairment are not disability. Disability is the barriers put across by the society. Barriers like attitude, negative attitude towards disability, stigma towards disability, environmental barriers, the stairs, all the environmental infrastructure barriers that are put across by the society. Those are the barriers that making people disabled and not independent. If we get rid of those barriers, then persons with disabilities would get equal opportunity. Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for your time. So as you've heard it from Fatma, indeed those barriers are the only bag that bring the bridge gap between the society and persons who are differently abled, and let's hope that with time that gap will definitely come to a close and we will all be unified as one, and we will not see persons with disability any different from abled persons as well. Now that's all that we had for you here on Beyond the Limit. I am Mudhani Maina. Till next Saturday, sayonara.
We value your feedback. If you would like to send questions, comments, or suggestions for your favorite TV47 shows, call us on telephone number 0740-047-047 or email us at maoni@tv47.co.ke. You can also write to us on PO